Hey everyone, welcome to another Espresso Live. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for all the feedback, comments, topics and stuff. Really appreciate it. I want to speak today about interview burnout. It's a real thing, and feels like we've been speaking about this forever. Like interview processes being too long, the candidates not having great experiences, all of that stuff. And I'm still hearing it, and a lot of candidates still complaining about bad experiences, long interview processes, not feeling the vibe when it comes to offer stage, too long. So when you're hiring, and it's also funny, just quick context is candidates when they get a job and they become hiring managers, people forget. So just remember what it's like to interview, really important. Few things that I would do, and also the other thing, just quick as well, is you don't want people burning out before they've even joined you. This like interview fatigue is a real thing, and I've had candidates recently that have just pulled out of interview processes because it's just not felt right. And right now with the market how it is, people aren't having it. They're like, no, I'm out. Or it's just taken too long. What's it going to be like to work here if it takes so long for them to make a hiring decision? So there's all of those things going through people's minds. If you're hiring, you've got to nail it, and the experience that people have with you is within your control. There are things you can do to make people feel really good, and people remember how you make them feel. And if you're not making them feel good during an interview process, they're out. So a few things you can do, like decide who's in the process right from the beginning. And then not only that, but get their engagement. A lot of companies, they have, I don't know, let's say 5 people, 3 people, however many it is. Keep it shorter, but clearly, if it's a board level role, senior leadership role, there'll be a bunch of stakeholders. So however many people you need, you get them involved, of course, but don't go overboard. And when you've decided who is going to be in the interview process, make sure you get their commitment and time in their diary. A lot of the time, there's someone's in an interview process, or they're supposed to interview someone and they're not really so engaged, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer to arrange an interview with them. Candidates get a little bit disengaged and stuff like that. So if you're hiring and you're getting your colleagues in on the interview, make sure they're all in and committed and they've got time in the diary, so you can make sure the interview process is done like in a decent amount of time. So make sure that's done, and then communicate it with the candidates and just say, hey, look, these are the people we'd like you to meet. These are various stakeholders and team members, or whoever, peers, whoever you want them to meet, but manage your expectations and let them know. So even if it happens to be long, at least people know. There's nothing worse than starting an interview process and you think it's over and it's like, oh, there's one more. Oh, no, we need to get you a few more. Actually, we have to get you to do a psychometric test. Actually, you've got to have so just let people know. And then that just sets the tone right from the beginning. Much easier. So do that, let people know. And then get it done in a nice way. If it's video, face-to-face, however you're doing it, make sure people are getting a really nice sense of like what the vibe is and what it's like to work there. Culture, I talk about a lot, really is one of the top things people are looking for. And so people want to get a good vibe of the place, so treat people with respect, value their time, pay them back with feedback, and keep things timely. I've had a lot of people recently, they've been interviewing with a couple of companies. One's taken loads of time, hasn't managed their expectations. Others have gone quicker, and the ones that have been quicker and timely have been getting the candidates. So really do that. Super important. The other thing is when it comes around to actually offering someone, don't take too long. There's been a number of occasions I've heard about recently that yes, we're going to offer you the job, and then it's like ages and ages before offers come, and they're not quite right. They've missed a few things. The devil's in the detail with recruiting. Like it's about timing for sure. Tough market, timing's everything. Detail is super key. You want to get all of these small things right. experience, comes to offer, make sure the details are right. And it's a really interesting moment at the moment just for offers, and depending on where you are in the world. You know, a lot of states in the US, if you're listening in the US, client companies and recruiters can't ask candidates what their current earnings are. So that's really interesting. Some states in the US require companies to advertise the range on their job specs, and there's a lot of dynamics around that there. UK, we don't have that yet. Maybe we will in the future, I don't know. But make sure you get everything right, you know what's going on, and you give candidates the best experience possible. Money's the money, and of course it's important. Hey, we don't want to work for free, right? Economics plays a part for sure. So you need to be making sure that your remuneration is in line with the market, you know, whatever you can pay. But clearly, you know, look, hey, if you're an SME, you're some challenger brand, you know, you've got a budget, you know, whatever it is, money's not the only thing. So make sure you've really gone through, like, what are the key things we can offer people? Like, why would someone want to come and work here? You know, really, really cool stuff. And it's worth thinking about. You know, there's money, there's culture, there's progression, there's autonomy, you know, all of that stuff. You know, like, candidates think about these things. You know, it's like your career is a story, right? And what's the next chapter? And if you're thinking as a company, as a hiring manager, right, this person's coming to see us, think about what the next chapter of their career will look like if they come and work with you guys versus staying where they are, or, you know, another firm. And then think through that. And that will give you a good chance at maybe kind of addressing and communicating some really key bits that you think might be important to them. And of course, ask them as well, key. So hope that's helpful. In a quick summary, manage people's expectations up front, how many interviews and how long it might take. And then give them a great experience, make sure the experience they have in an interview is exactly the same as when they actually join, because that's key, because candidate retention is the hidden cost of recruitment. You don't want people leaving and all of that stuff, right? And then when you're coming to make an offer, you know, make sure you've planned it properly, you've thought about what you can offer, you've researched the market. It's super easy to see what your competitors are paying and benefits and things. It's easy to dive into polls on LinkedIn, and there's a bunch of research around to look at, like, what people are valuing right now. Flexibility, all of that stuff. No excuse not to know now, right? So get all that right. It gives you a really, really good chance of getting the people that you want. Yeah, and treat people like humans, you know, like, people remember how you make them feel, and if you've made them feel good, they've got more of a chance of wanting to come work with you. And if you haven't, and you've treated them badly, they're going to tell all their friends, and it's going to make hiring even harder for you. So do think about it. Hope that helps, and speak to you all soon.